contraband or maybe counterfeit products you've actually used. So many. And at that level, that means even our safety in terms of the electronics, nobody knows. So it is high time we as a people, we need to ask ourselves, the professionalism in terms of all these agencies, whether it is anti-counterfeit, whether we talk of KRA, whether we talk of poison pharmacies and the poison board, the KEBS, where are these people when all these things are penetrating in this country, and then we talk of them as corruption when there are people who are compromised that we need to go for? Okay, so immediately they will face the reality that they think with their, or maybe they see with their third eye, that the problem they are facing is not with the leaders, but it is for them who are going to suffer, even all these debts we are talking about. But don't you think, Karl Marx, and as I bring Keter into this conversation, the same agencies that you're looking up to fight corruption, talk about EACC. Anytime a file of a prominent person gets into their hands, let's disband the EACC. Actually, Kenyans are waiting for the disbandment of the current EACC
You
members.
see, the problem, it is not even about the disbanding at the moment. EACC is very corrupt than most other institutions.
So are you supporting the disbandment?
Not about the disbandment. What we should do is to reconstitute EACC.
But how many times are we going to reconstitute? EACC has been reconstituted almost every time that corruption is happening in the country.
You see the problem.
Because if you start mentioning the names of the people who've left that office because they've been a target of corruption, the list is
But
long.
I think every time we want to really, because I'm in Parliament and I've seen the challenge that we have in EACC, it is not about the commissioners. It is about the secretariat and the investigators. They are very corrupt. And I've talked about this even in Parliament. I think what we should do is to allow the new commissioners, because they are, I think, 3 years, 2.5 years old. Yeah. What they should do is to do vetting process to for the entire secretariat, because that is where corruption is. It is a toll station. Anybody corrupt will not be worried that EACC are coming after them. They will be worried in terms of how much they will part with. It is no longer about whether they will be prosecuted or taken to court. And I have to discuss something about, you see, if you are to get to the levels where Singapore, Malaysia, and Chinese, the Asian tigers, where they line up and they execute. They destroy and attempt to execute execution of the corrupt people. Yeah. In Kenya, the problem that we are facing is that in most cases, innocent individuals are prosecuted. The real culprits are free. You see, most of these individuals you see that end up in courts is because they have failed to sort out EACC. Some have failed to give out money to DCI. Some have, and cartels are controlling all over. I'm happy for the new leadership in DCI, where we have our brother Kinoti and DPP. We are hoping to see something different. But what I had seen in the 11th Parliament is that I talked about these issues from 2013, 2014, 2015. Corruption is all over. Okay. People are becoming billionaires every day. We have people who are investing in Dubai. They are building malls in South Africa. They are building hotels in Zambia. And they are free. They have never been prosecuted or taken to court. And that is the reason why we are supporting the president to do a lifestyle audit. Because that is the easiest way. Because they are very smart. They don't do corruption here in Kenya. They do it here in Kenya, but the transactions are happening in Belgium. They do it across international. They do money laundering. They are paid in Dubai. They are paid in Singapore. They are paid in Bangkok in Thailand. They are paid in South Africa. They are paid outside the country. So you see them becoming billionaires per day, and you don't get where they get the money from. It's so easy to get to understand who is looting Kenya. You see some individuals are contributing up to 20 million a weekend. It is not easy. And you can't get 20 million. All this money and Kenyans are receiving, even the religious organizations are so happy that you are coming with 4 million, 5 million for a fundraiser, and they don't care where you're getting from. Let's bring in now the conversation about even members of parliament who are in some of these committees have been accused of corruption. Because when a certain committee is probing an issue that has been making the headlines, just before you hold your thought when it comes to the contraband sugar, because we'll finish with that,
there has been accusation that even some chairs of committees, some members of these committees have been receiving bribe. Look at what happened some time back with some members being accused, oh, you received monies because you wanted us to, you know, not probe so much into this. Let
me ask you, you see, even before Karl Marx talks about this, we've talked about this thing long, 6 months, 7 months ago. Early this year, late last year. Most committees were compromised the moment they were, they brought in chairs who were puppets because they were not elected. Most of them were not elected. The very few who were elected, like myself and Honorable Tyrion, Honorable Kaguya, lost their seats. Why? The Keters manipulated the process in Parliament and they are in control of the committees. So the Keters, they are not being bribed today. They were compromised long time.
So you also have cartels in the corridors of Parliament?
Yeah. They're in Parliament, not in the corridors.
They're
inside Parliament. They are part of us. They are members of Parliament, some of them.
But if these cartels are members of Parliament, Karl Marx, as Keter is saying, then why...
Some of them are members of Parliament.
Some of them are members of Parliament, the way he's saying. Then why bother have committees that's constituted with cartels, probe issues that affect Kenyans when it comes to corruption?
Brenda, you know, parliamentary committees are fraud. And this is where Kenyans, actually, this is where the problem starts. Let me try to just put this in this perspective. How, do you know the Parliament, first of all, the Parliament, they have the powers, actually, to summon witnesses and demand for evidence. Now, you could see during all this time what has been taking place. Parliament summons witnesses, but then they are turned into hippodromes, or maybe the chemists, okay, whereby they are the people being lectured. Immediately after that, they rush for some selfies with the suspects or maybe with the witnesses that we still need more information about. They rush to go to where they can meet these people because the name has been mentioned, or this is, I don't know, the billionaires, the tycoons. They rush to go and be hosted in some given hotels somewhere else, you know. So already they are compromised. At the same time, they are vetting. I don't know what they are talking about. They are doing some investigation. How do you do an investigation, for example, like for the sugar? You rush to Mombasa. You go and disrupt the entire farm in the name of you're looking for evidence when already you've told us you are going there. How do you do investigations when already everybody knows what you're going to do there? During all this process, it's just a way of minting money, but they don't want to tell Kenyans that this process, we are headed nowhere.
So is it the reason as to why, currently now let me bring in the contraband sugar saga. Is it the reason as to why even some members of Parliament who are part of the committee members of this joint parliamentary committee are petitioning the president? And now Kenyans are asking, you're members of this committee that is probing the sugar scandal. At the same time, you're petitioning the president to form a commission of inquiry into the sugar scandal. So then it means the committee is already compromised.
Let me tell you something. When you see some leaders even talk about, when we were discussing about this same corruption, even the lifestyle audit, shaking and panicking. I think you've seen some leadership of the both houses, Senate and National Assembly. It is very unfortunate. I want to say that Parliament failed long time. I talked about it early January this year, and I want to repeat it. The moment we allowed Keters to control who is going to sit as a chair of different departmental committees, that is where we lost focus. And that is the reason why, even at the moment, they doubt the process. That is the reason why they are making a proposal to the president to set a commission of inquiry. Why should you set up a commission of inquiry to inquire about something that you can handle it in Parliament? They've lost hope. They already know that the leadership of that house is already compromised.
Then where are we headed to as a country?
And it is very unfortunate.
Where are we headed to as a
country?
That
is why I said Kenyans, they've just, I think Kenya is a very good country. People are very patient. People will always wait for things to happen.
So we are patient also with corruption.
That is what I'm talking about. This, from where corruption is, I think it is high time people need to get to that Parliament. And they tell them if the business of this house is all about this corruption, then they need not even to sit there. But let me tell you, you know, during the time that there was the composition of these committees, I could see a lot of some given, you know, the shadow forces behind everything. Not because they seated here, but I can tell you that when somebody has been elected to represent some given committees, give them space. leave those people to work independently. Because that is where the accountability and the confidence, the public confidence will be inspired within those committees. Yeah. But the day we decided to put these things to look like, if I just give a phone call somewhere, somebody will do what I want, that is where we are headed. But as a country now, I think we are headed wrong direction, and when it comes to fighting this corruption, the members of the parliament is the first major problem in this country.
So members of parliament, first problem in the country. Keter, you say some of the people leading these committees are cartels. Those are your words. Yeah. They're not my words. They're your words. But my question is, if we have members of the committee corrupt, we have chairs corrupt, members of parliament corrupt, so then why do we have some corrupt?
I think that is important.
Yes, some corrupt. As you've said, some are corrupt.
Even some, not all members of parliament.
Yeah, not all members of parliament are corrupt. So then why do we have a corrupt institution?
It is not just about the institution.
That's leading the nation. Because
Kenyans
if I
are corrupt. Let me just tell you in short.
I'm not corrupt.
Most Kenyans are corrupt.
Okay.
That is the reason why I said some members of parliament are corrupt. Not everyone is corrupt.
Yeah, some members of parliament
but
are
I want
corrupt.
to make it so that you get, there is a misconception that, you see, members of parliament were elected by the members of the public. I'm happy for Nandis because they have a member of parliament who has been against corruption. Very few constituencies have managed to get a Keter who is ready to face it, because there are so many challenges that you face. Corruption fights back, and you can even lose your life, you can lose your family, you can lose everything. It is a sacrifice. But I want to urge Kenyans that I know elections will come in 2022. It's very far. What they need to do at the moment is to ask their members of parliament, what is your role in terms of checking this menace of corruption that is spoiling our economy, that is taking us to the dark days of where we don't want to remember, where we are losing focus in terms of development. We have no money. Look at these disasters. We were just watching while Red Cross were intervening. Why is Red Cross so
at the front line?
Front line in every disaster. Does it mean that there are no institutions that are obligated with the same roles that Red Cross does? No, they are, but they are very corrupt. Where is the money that we budget for disaster management? We are losing. What I need to do to say as a member of parliament is that every leader, every Kenyan citizen must support the president in ensuring that we need to fight corruption. He has already started, and now it's very impressive. I think by even mentioning that there should be lifestyle audit from himself down to the deputy president, to the cabinet, and all of us as members of parliament, I think it is already a way forward. Because most corrupt people are panicking wherever they are. You see, most of these managing directors where you see contracts are variated. You know, there is a variation of contracts where we're losing a lot of billions of money. There, at the moment, there are issues to do with most corporations where a contract that was worth about 30 billion, they do a maximum variation of 25%.
Yeah.
So that you have 35 billion, which is about 5 billion on top of, you know, variation. There are rules and ways that are provided for in the law. Yeah. If there are challenges that you're facing in terms of the dollar, if there are challenges that you're facing in terms of the raw materials that you're using, or there is something, or by design you have to change the design to suit something.
Yeah.
But in Kenya, it is order of the day. Because people are utilizing that. You know, the loopholes that are in the constitution, we have a very wonderful constitution, a very good constitution. We have good laws, we have acts of parliament that are so, if we were to follow the spirit of it, nobody wants to implement that. What they are focused in are the loopholes that are in our law, so that they loot.
Okay. Corruption now getting right to our doorstep. Contraband sugar. Who failed?
For the contraband, I think, first of all, we need to start with the window of, we call it the Gazette notice that was issued 1st September to 31st December. That is one. Two, all the agencies, I think they have never been working in coordination. That is in one place. If the anti-counterfeit actually will get to NAB 1, the KEBs are not there. The KRA are not there. and maybe the poisoners, pharmacists and poisoners board are not there. So in one way, one person will be like, he has an avenue of actually getting to be compromised, so that other agencies will be like, you were not there during the time that all these things were there. That is one thing. Second thing, I think Kenya as a country, we've now decided to make Kenya be a dumping site of contraband and expired goods. Because to an extent whereby our body, that all these things were there. That is one thing. Second thing, I think Kenya as a country, we've now decided to make Kenya be a dumping site of contraband and expired goods. Because to an extent whereby our borders are porous, that we can actually sneak goods that in some other countries, they are just like waste.
Is it that you know, sorry, when you say that our borders are porous,
yes,
I really don't believe that when people say that our borders are porous. We have men and women who have been employed by the government to ensure that what comes into the country and what goes out of the country is something that is good.
It's porous because when there are some people who are managing those borders from outside the border, that is what I mean by being porous. Because without the directive that Mheshimiwa Keter made sure that these things are passing through this place, you cannot. You as Brenda, I can tell you for free, you cannot even move with any given good that is a counterfeit from port of Mombasa to Nairobi. But there is some funny trends that we need to Kenyans to understand. If sugar can move all the way from the port to Isili, there are so many roadblocks here. You can't convince me that there is not even one single police that even detected that there's some suspicion with all these trucks. Not only that, here at KICC, just yesterday, some weeks here, some 2 Chinese businessmen were displaying fake electronics. The way they passed all the way from the port, and again to be cleared within the KICC to do all this, you still wonder. At the KICC, at the JKIA, how many drugs were netted? Thousands and thousands of them that were used, or that are supposed to be used to terminate pregnancies. Nobody came out, nobody was mentioned, and up to date, nobody even knows where all those drugs were.
So does it mean...
So that means that the institution, the weakness in the institution, and also the reluctancy to implement for the agencies to work together in terms of the policies and the structures, we are not there.
So are we trying to say that, quote unquote, there are cartels behind this contraband goods that are making their way into the country?
You know, the situation is very complex, and I want to say it is, these are just signs and symptoms of a failure of institutions. You know, there is a multi-agency approach when you want to import anything, even sugar, because you have to get a license from AFA. Okay. It used to be Sugar Board, now it is under AFA. After getting a license from Sugar Board, you have to be cleared, the goods must be cleared by CAPS from the country of origin, because there is an arrangement where they will inspect from that country of origin, if it is coming from Brazil or wherever. Then there will be KPA, because you have to ship the cargo to any ports, where there will be Kenya ports. Then there is Kenya Revenue. Yeah? All these institutions, including Ministry of Interior, because the police, and I want to support my brother in terms of when he talked of the porous
borders.
Of our borders. We have 44 borders.
Yeah.
Not every border, but I mean we have 44 entry points.
Yeah.
Not every entry point is manned.
Okay.
There are entry points where there are no Kenya Revenue, there is no CAPS, there are no police. And it is not any ordinary citizen who does most of these businesses.
Yeah.
These are people who control the police.
Oh, okay.
They have the money to influence. They have the money to compromise institutions. That is why they succeed in having a product that should not be in the market because it is an health hazard. And they have a clean bill of health. They were cleared by CAPS.
Okay. Wow, it is a discussion that cannot come to an end. We've run out of time. It is exactly 9 a.m. Wow, time goes quiet first. We've been talking to Nandi Hills Member of Parliament, Alfred Keter, and an analyst, Karl Marx Odhiambo, here in Our studios, Good Morning Kenya, cross-talk every Wednesday where we discuss about issues that affect you and I. Not only politics, but also matters corruption, issues that have been making the headlines, trends in Kenya, issues that have been the talk of town day in, day out. My name is Brenda Zedoradido. Thank you so much for watching. Let's do this again tomorrow, same time, same place here on KBC Channel 1, Good Morning Kenya. And of course, as usual, we don't do this alone. We have a lot of teamwork here, men and women behind the scenes. Thanks so much for making this morning production a success. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. God bless. Have a lovely week.